Hi, how's it going, all of you loyal viewers of Laker Student Media? It's me, Alex Wargo. You might know me from the smash hit segment we have, Mercyhurst Movie Minute. I know, I'm your favorite host, because that was a good joke. Now this segment, you might be asking yourself, what the freaking heck is this segment? Why am I seeing this on the LSM channel? This is a segment I had in a dream, and I thought, yeah, this is a good idea. Basically, I just talk about things I like and I'm interested in because I want an excuse to talk about things that I'm interested in. No other reason. I just thought it'd be fun. I do research and I talk about things. That's it. Let's jump right into this and we roll the intro. What's up with that? 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 So yeah, wow, what a cool intro I made. Oh my gosh, wow, I must have put a lot of effort into that one. So this pilot episode we have here, we're talking about Stan Lee, early Marvel, and really who created the Fantastic Four. It's a pretty big issue. Not a lot of people like to hear about this because it does include some things that Stan Lee may or may not have lied about what he had created, and people don't like to hear that. This is a pretty rough topic for some people, I guess. So it all goes back to good old 1930s Timely Comics. If you don't know what that is, that was basically Marvel before it got the name Marvel. They published characters we all know and love, like Captain America, the Jack Kirby, and several others I can't remember. I think Patsy Walker might have been one of them. 1939, we'll jump into that, where Marvel Comics #1 was first published. That created the character everyone knows and loves, the Human Torch. Not the one you're thinking of from the Fantastic Four. No, this is a different one. This one was a robot who fought Nazis. Good try, though. And also, this was the same year where Stan Lee was brought in as an assistant because his uncle worked at Timely. By the way, also, Stan Lee is not his real name. That is a pseudonym he wrote under, but I can't remember his real name because I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. He then went on to allegedly write Captain America #3. Again, there's no proof whether he did or didn't write it because a lot of this earlier time period, who created what and who wrote what is very unclear. It's a lot of he said, she said, a lot very unclear. I'm going to try to present this as well as I can. So, 1960s, Timely rebranded itself as Marvel Comics, and in that stage, where they started producing some of the bigger, more well-known characters. Like we got the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and the X-Men. Made by three men, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, and Steve Ditko. And things were going well with Jack, Stan, and Steve publishing some just good old great stuff. Until 1966 when Steve Ditko left. We don't know why. He just kind of did. He was a very reclusive person. I couldn't find anything about why he left. He just did. It might have been about rights and who created Spider-Man. There's a good interview with Alan Moore, actually. Famed comic book author Alan Moore. You might know him if you've read Watchmen, V for Vendetta, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. What else did he write? He wrote some other things, like that one, the Batman the Killing Joke, if you read that. And let's play the interview now.
And I remember when I did that Steve Ditko program with Jonathan Ross, where Stan Lee will not say, yes, Steve Ditko created Spider-Man. He will say, in my opinion, Steve Ditko created Spider-Man. But he won't say, yeah, actually, Steve Ditko did create Spider-Man. He won't say that. Probably on advice from lawyers. And Jonathan Ross had got him over to come over to do the recording, and Stanley was going to be bringing his lawyer with him, but his lawyer got stuck in traffic. And Jonathan Ross said, oh, look, we're in a bit of a hurry. Or perhaps he said, hurry, I don't know. But, So eventually Stanley said, oh well, we can do the interview. I trust you. And yeah, so Jonathan Ross got him. It was like the Jeremy Paxman moment when he was interviewing Michael Howard on Newsnight. He was saying, so, Stanley, is Steve Ditko the creator of Spider-Man? And Stanley was squirming and saying, well, in my opinion, Steve Ditko was the creator of Spider-Man. He said, yeah, that's not what I asked. Your opinion doesn't actually matter for anything. It's not official, is it? Was Steve Ditko the creator of Spider-Man? And about 3 times. He said, well, in my opinion, Steve Ditko is the creator of Spider-Man. You know, Steve Ditko was, during Spider-Man's, I think, 30th anniversary year, Steve Ditko was living in reduced circumstances. All these people, they had their work stolen from them.
Oh wow, that was a good interview. Oh boy, he really said some things on that wild stuff. And yeah, then Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko went on to Charleston Comics, which eventually would become DC, or become part of the DC family, if you know your deep comics lore. Then 1970, Jack Kirby, Jesus, leaves Marvel, goes to DC, claims the Fantastic Four was his idea, and he goes to DC, creates the Fourth World, literally just changes the entire comics industry with it. Wild stuff. And just to get a shot at Stan Lee, he creates the character Funky Flashman, who is apparently he's just a version of Stan Lee that shows what actually happened between them when they worked at Marvel. And also, this same year, Stan would tell the story of the synopsis, of like coming up with the synopsis of the first Fantastic Four, and then telling Jack to draw it. Which this story is kind of weird, doesn't really work out, because the Marvel method was how they did comics back then, which would be the artist would basically come up with the story, draw it, and then the writer would add words into the story after it was drawn. So Stan's story doesn't really work out as well, but again, we don't know, they might have made that up after, so you know, there's still room, we don't know who really, if this was right or not. And then, 1975, Jack Kirby comes back to Marvel. Don't know why, he just did. I don't know, couldn't find anything about it. 1987, there's an interview with Jack Kirby. He claims Stan Lee was just an editor and he created everything. The original synopsis that Stan said he had did not exist, and Jack Kirby had never seen it. After this, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were on bad terms. They were not speaking. Which, yeah. Next big update, 1991. The Fantastic Four, 358. Stan Lee includes the original synopsis of the first issue. It is unclear whether or not this is real, because no one was there. And then 1995, Fantastic Four issue 400 comes out, and Stan retells the creation of the Fantastic Four, which contradicts the narrative given with the synopsis, because he says it was both him and Jack. So which is it, Stan? You gotta tell us. Oh wait, you can't. You're not alive. I shouldn't have made that joke. So yeah, at this point, this was all I could find with the Fantastic Four, and at this point, because I went deep into that, I feel like that was just a good one to go into. And yeah, we'll never know who really created what, because all three of the original like big creators at Marvel are no longer alive, and also I'm pretty sure there are some things with lawyers that they just weren't gonna ever talk about. So yeah, we'll never know. I just wanted to start the conversation with some people, just get it out there that, hey, maybe Stan Lee didn't create everything. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Who knows? We won't. And yeah, that's a wrap for this first episode of this segment. And yeah, have a nice weekend.